Hey, I'm Greg Wolf for Unsportsmanlike Conduct. It's time for part 2 of my sit-down interview with University of Memphis quarterback Paxton Lynch. This time around, Paxton talks about family, the pressures of dealing with the media, and where football all began for him.
You seem to be handling this all so great, not even fazed by the fact you got thrown out of a cab and you had to walk here to the interview. You seem like a natural at it, though. Has it been a little bit overwhelming at all, the interviews and meeting all these new people and traveling to different cities, prepping for this?
It's definitely been different than anything I've ever done. Radio Row, you can't explain it to somebody to get a picture in their mind of what it actually is, but you know, I'm just enjoying myself through this process because I know I only go through it one time. So there's a lot of people who aren't lucky enough to even get this opportunity, and I'm one of those people that is. And you know, that's something I pride myself in, and enjoying this and soaking it all up.
And talk about your family a little bit. Are you taking them all on this ride with you? How close are you guys?
Yeah, they go with me everywhere I go. My brother usually is with me too, but he has baseball, so he couldn't make the trip. Yeah, but my parents, you know, come to a lot of the games. I know it's a long 12-hour drive, but they make their way out there, and they've been really helpful through this whole process. And even when I was at Memphis, they were always, you know, pushing me to be the best I can. And you know, they're always doing that to me, and I'm sure they will at the next level. And I'm sure I'll hear my mom up in the stands yelling my name at the games at the next level as well.
When did you feel kind of the big leap forward happened for you, just in terms of your ability on a football field, and you kind of got to that next level? What was the reason for it, or who was behind it helping you get there?
Coach Fuente and Coach Nelson did a great job of pushing me to be the best player that I could be, and always making me better. Even when I thought, you know, I was as good as I could be, they always found something, you know, to pick at and perfect that. So they've kind of put that in the back of my mind, that there's always a way to get better. There's always ways to improve. And you know, my 3 years at Memphis is an example of that. I was from bad to better to good, and I feel like I can still improve.
When you got to Memphis, you wanted to start right away, but then you actually realized it was a good thing to sit a little bit and to learn. And is that sort of the same philosophy you're taking as you go to the next level? Mm-hmm.
When I first got to Memphis, you know, I was a little young and immature, obviously, just wanting to get out there and play right away. But I didn't understand how important it was to know everything and be as big and as strong in the best physical condition you could possibly be in. I didn't realize that, but as I got older, I was really thankful for having the opportunity to sit back and have that year just to learn and get better and worry about that. But at the next level, I know it's a little different. If you go and sit behind a guy that is a starter, you don't for sure have that whole year off. Like if he goes down, you have a chance, you know, you're the next guy up. So there's that aspect where you gotta prepare like you are gonna be the starter.
It's a whole other world now. Before you could just focus on football, you're at Memphis, and obviously your studies and things like that, but now you gotta worry about the business side of everything. And talk to us about that a little bit. And does it help to have someone like Lee who's been through this with so many quarterbacks and helped them do so many great things in the past too? I
mean, it's a job now. When you were in college, you obviously had to take care of your classes still and practice and work all that in together. But now, you know, you're a professional football player, and that's what you do. You do interviews like this, and we go on Radio Row. And I don't think you get kicked out of cabs very often, but I guess sometimes it happens to everybody. But you know, having Lee is great because he's been through it, so he already knows what's going to happen. You know, what people are going to ask, so you kind of know ahead of time.
Have you talked to many, maybe some of his former clients too and things like that, but many different quarterbacks in the league who've helped you, give you any advice going forward?
I talked to Cordell Stewart, actually. He gave me Cordell's number, and me and Cordell were texting, which was really cool, you know. Outside, I met Rocky Blyer, who I had a picture of him in my room, and when I was a kid, I played running back, and that's the reason I wore number 20, because he was wearing number 20. And also, Charlie has good connections as well. He coached Blake Bortles, and he had Blake Bortles come and talk to me, and Lee with June Jones. You know, the connections are basically endless with him. If I ever want to get in contact with somebody, he knows them.
So what was that like for you? I mean, you said Cordell was kind of a hero growing up.
Yeah.
What was that like meeting him for the first time? What was the best advice he gave you?
He was just telling me to, keep my head on my shoulders and keep working like I have been. And I told him, I looked up to him. I had a poster of my room in college and all that, and he just laughed and, he thought it was funny. But he was just telling me to, keep my head down and keep working.
What's going to happen? Where are you going to be on draft day? Who's going to be with you?
I plan on just having like a party with my family and my close friends back home, probably somewhere in that area, because I've never really been one for the spotlight, but I understand what comes with the position, and obviously it's stuff like this, which I can handle, but whenever I get a chance to just kind of, duck away with my family and friends, I definitely jump at the opportunity.
So much training, I know, and so much preparation goes into the point you're at now.
Mm-hmm.
So the draft will happen, and then you're going to be in uniform with a team. Tough to say what those emotions are going to feel like, but when you're standing on a football field next season.
Mm-hmm. I can only imagine. The only thing I can think of is just how this year, when we were in the locker room watching kids, we played with that got drafted that year, and you're watching on TV, and you can only think about what that felt like, and now I'm going through it. So I can only imagine what the feeling might be when it actually happens.